Good morning, everyone. We are here in the studio this morning. I'm kind of excited we get to interview Tim Miller. He's a fellow who's about 5 hours drive away from me, so he stepped up to do a Skype interview, so the sound quality won't be all that great, but the information is really great. So excited to introduce Tim this morning, and stay tuned. We're going to be interviewing him for quite a while. He's a wealth of information. He's had about 30 years of experience as a worship leader in ministry of different types, and so excited to have him on the Skype call today. And please listen up and just enjoy the wealth of information that he's about to pour out for you. Hello, everyone. This is Worship Unleashed, and we're here with Tim Miller. He's a worship leader way up in Michigan, in the boondocks up there. He's kind of a mountain man. Not really any mountains up there, just kind of a frontier guy up there. And we're here to talk to him this morning a little bit about his job as a worship pastor and just his calling as a worship leader. And so we're just really thankful to have him with us this morning. And hello, Tim. How are you doing?
All right. Well.
Good. We're talking via Skype, in case anybody wonders. That's how we're actually doing this morning. And he lives about 5.5 hours away from where our studio is, so there wasn't a chance to just drive up there and talk for 30 minutes and record this. So we're just going to do a preliminary interview right now, and hopefully have a bigger interview maybe when I get up that way sometime. We're going to talk a bit more about your team and get to meet them a little bit, and maybe attend church with you guys and see what all's happening up there. So. Now, your position in the church, why don't you share a little bit about what your job is, or your position, how that all works? Just talk a little bit about that part of things with what you do up there.
Okay, sure. They brought me in to be the worship pastor of the church, and so I oversee the music world, basically, and tech stuff. And I'm on a team with 4 pastors, and we have some other staff as well with different responsibilities. And so I put together most of the things that happen in the service, other than the sermon, I'm responsible for, and caring for pastoring the musicians and developing the worship program.
Okay, so you're full-time. That's a full-time position for you. Now, how many musicians do you have? Vocalists do you have on your team that you work with?
We have a roster of right at 100 people.
Wow. Okay.
Now that's at 2 different campuses. Mm-hmm. Then also have a youth facility. And
okay.
So of those, probably of the people that I work with myself, I probably have about 45 active people that I work with.
Okay. Wow. You are a busy guy. That's a lot of people to keep reined in. And they're all volunteer. Do you have any musicians that are, any other than yourself that are paid on staff that help with the worship?
Every staff person.
Okay.
They have been, for the last couple of months, they have been allowing me to bring in another person to lead besides myself, and we do pay him. It's more of a gratuity than anything.
Yeah, right.
But that just is a thank you to him, and that's a temporary thing because we had a situation where when we started our satellite church 3 years ago, we sent one of our guys there, and then he had to step back because of work, and so we sent our other worship leader there, and who was my second, kind of where I'm at, and the other people that we had just had to move away because of a work situation, transfer, and so all of a sudden it was just me. And
wow.
That's a pretty busy boat to run.
I bet, yeah.
But they took care of me basically by letting me bring somebody in.
Good.
Other than that, those are all volunteer.
Yeah. So life happens sometimes and just gets messy, and you have to kind of step up to the plate and do what you got to do. I suppose that's good. That's good that you're able to step in there. Now, what is the name of your church? What is the name of the church that you're there with?
Wallen Lake Community Church.
Okay.
In Wallen Lake. It's the only church in town. We're in a church our town is about 250 people, a township where the church is located.
Okay.
And we have, it'll vary 100 up or down, but around 700 people.
Wow.
The campus, about 125 at the satellite campus, and then 60 to 80 kids at the youth center.
Wow. Okay.
And people drive from a distance to get to our location.
Wow. Yeah. That's especially up there. That's you got to. That's quite a trek for that many people to pull together up there. Do you have, when you talk about your satellite campus, is that a live streamed event, or is that something where you have a kind of a recorded event, or is it connected at all with what's happening at the main campus?
We have a live speaker, a live person who's actually pastoring that campus.
Okay.
We didn't initially set it up that way. We were going to go with a video feed, but actually a person who was a youth pastor at our main location, the Lord was moving in his life, and he said, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think the Lord asked me to do that. And
wow, cool.
And it was the right thing. So that's worked out really well. Now, he'll preach the same topic, same series or whatever that we're doing at the mothership. But he'll do it a week later, and so we have a week delay. And sometimes the senior pastor at our location will preach over there, and they'll swap, or we'll do different things.
Okay. Let's see. Sounds interesting. Sounds like a good fit for him. I'm glad he stepped into that. That's good. So now your services are, you have one service on or you have multiple services?
At each location.
Okay.
And they're Sunday mornings.
Okay. And describe what kind of a service is it? Is it completely contemporary? Does it have some kind of, is it more traditional, or is it kind of a blended service, or how would you describe it, I guess?
I would call it a contemporary service.
Okay.
We incorporate a lot of different styles of music, and that includes hymns.
Okay.
But we use a pretty traditional contemporary band. So you'll see drums and keys and guitars, as you're the ambient guitars, and just. And then we'll do something acoustical too. We'll switch it up.
Now I know. I've known you in the past. As a disclosure here, I've known Tim for a long time, and he was a worship leader at a former church that I went to I was there for about 14 years. But you were there as a leader for a couple years.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I know you well enough to know that you're more interested in just music. Your idea of worship kind of expands to all the arts, as I understand the way I've known you. You like to be inclusive of everything, picture art, graphic arts, all that kind of thing. You've been a skilled person in all those areas. Is that something you've had the freedom to do there at where you're at now in your position? Have you been able to kind of incorporate visual aspects of art and music and all kinds of other like theatrical type things and drama? Or are you involved in any of that there? Or are you just music?
But I do a lot of that. You're right. You read me really well. That's my bent. That's how I am.
Yeah.
But we have not had the people step up that have had interest in that. And I can go ahead and take it on myself and incorporate a lot of video stuff and a lot of visual stuff and whatever. But I really try to focus on finding people that seem to have God moving in a certain area in their life, and then facilitate them to set them in ministry. And
right.
Whatever God is moving the people, that's where I want to go, instead of just taking my preferences.
Yeah, well, that's good. I think that's something that burns out a lot of leaders when they try to be everything instead of really waiting for the people. I think that's what a good leader, like you're saying, will kind of sense where the people are and bring them from point A to point B, help lead them there, rather than just being that guy that does everything, and then you end up burning yourself out trying to do all those things. So it's good that you're in that perspective. That'll, sounds like a longevity kind of thing for you. You're not going to burn yourself out too quickly that way by trying to do all those things. Yeah. Yeah.
The main thing.
Yeah. Now let's talk a little bit about the instruments that you play. What's your favorite instrument, I guess, to lead worship with, and what else do you play besides? And I think you play guitar, if I remember correctly. So what else are you good at?
Good at. I know how to play everything that's on the platform except the drums. I cannot play the drums for the life of me. You can simplify it down to a conga or a cajon, and I still can't play.
Really? That's funny.
I'm comfortable grabbing and playing them.
Okay, so piano and guitar.
First guitar.
Yeah.
And that's definitely my go-to instrument.
Okay. Now, in terms of songs themselves, now I know you've had, you've written some songs yourself, and your wife has also written some songs.
She's a better songwriter.
Well, you're busy. She's got time to do that kind of stuff.
Exactly. That's interesting. I have less time to be a musician as a worship pastor than I did when I was a volunteer.
Isn't that is interesting?
If a person wants to be a musician, being a worship pastor is not the way to do it.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. That's a good word. That's interesting. Now, do you guys do any of the songs you've written for your congregation? Have you taught any of the songs to them? Have you had a chance to do that? Has that been something that's...
We used one of hers, and that's gone over well. And it's an older song. We did it when we were at the church with you. And they still do it. But they just haven't seemed to be the right song for the right time. And we have some people at the church who have written some music, but again, we try to pick songs that musically engage people, at least gives them that invitation. And then also songs that have lyrics to say, but they would kind of respond to by saying, that's what I wanted to say if I just could find the words. And so we look for songs that are the right thing for the right time. And right now, that's not stuff that we've written, and that's okay.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. Yeah, that's the important thing, is to keep people engaged. It's not so much to push your songs, but to make sure that they are engaging in what's going on. That's good. So you have practices with your team. Tell us a little bit about. Do you have like one practice during the middle part of the week, and then something on before the service, or do you have more than one practice like that? Do you?
Well, we used to have set teams, so I'd have 3 to 5 bands, and I'd
see.
practice every week, they were on or not, and that was burning me out. And about 3 years ago, when we started the satellite church, we pulled back from that model just because we knew we were going to be having a lot of people shifting from bands, and it seems like when you have set bands, that you take one person out of the mix, and it takes a while for that band to really be firing.
No, that's a good point. Yeah.
And so we actually went to a rotational system where you never knew who you were going to be playing with until the schedule came out. You never knew who you were going to be playing with, and that would change from week to week. Now we kind of have a hybrid system. And so I have a few core people who play together, and the core people have a little bit more. There's more asked of them as far as their time with the Lord and their time practicing and commitment to not declining when they're invited to play.
I see.
And then we fill the core teams that rotate with the rest of the musicians. Most musicians just rotate.
I see. Okay.
So we have one practice on Monday night. The musicians have the list ahead of time. In a perfect world, they have it a couple weeks ahead of time, but it's only a couple weeks. And so they can practice with at least a plan of what they're going to play. And we leave the practice, they leave the practice not having a polished set ready to go, but everybody should leave knowing this is going to be my role in this song. So
I see.
the rest of the week work on it. We send everybody home with a CD with one take of each of the songs, and so they can practice with that.
Good.
Have that available to start over 12 past 1. And so they'll practice through the week, and then we'll come in Sunday morning and do a full practice before the service.
I see.
And so they put in a lot of time.
Yeah. Good. Well, that's good. The CD idea is really that's really kind of unique. A lot of places don't do that or don't have the technology or the people to actually put something like that out together for everybody. But that's really helpful. That's kind of neat. Now, do you have a separate practice time for your vocalists? Do they have a chance to get together and they just work with the band exclusively, or do they have kind of their own separate time to also work on kind of vocals and harmonizing and that kind of thing?
We do it all at the same time.
Okay.
And we have done that, and sometimes we'll break away from each other and just they'll gather and we'll do something, work on some vocals. A lot of our musicians also sing, and so that makes it a little bit more complicated.
Right. Okay.
We sometimes use a vocal ensemble and a smaller choir. And they used to have their own practices separately. So it was just it's not optimal, but it's functional.
Okay. Let's. Do you use any kind of software? Are you using just song sheets pretty much? Are you printing everything out, or do you have any kind of like iPads and song sheets and that kind of thing to make it a little bit easier, or is that what are you using there?
As far as our charts go, we're pretty old school. We make all of our own charts, and so they'll be annotated. They'll have a lot of bass comes in here.
Okay.
They have to have information on. But we post everything on Planet Center. We use Planet Center online for our so everybody can download their own charts. We're not using the chart programs. We're not using iPads with the charts on it. Actually, I try to get people away from using music on platform. They still use stands and stuff like that. But we have a couple of large monitors, TV monitors down in front where we have the lyrics on the screen, and I don't let the ensemble use stands, and so they have to either use the screen to recognize the songs. But we pretty much look old school as far as, you'll see stands up there and people be looking down at their stands.
Yeah.
We're trying not to, but we do.
Yeah. Stands do tend to put a barrier between the people and the musicians, so I'd like to see that go away too, as much as I could possibly can whenever there's an opportunity to do that. Yeah, that's good.
In our auditorium, we have a sloped floor, and the congregation is usually standing during worship time, and so you really only see about chest up on the people's feet. And so we have our stands lower than that. We tend to lower our stands to it's a thinner line.
Good, yeah.
It's not that visual of an impairment, but I think more for the musicians it feels like a little bit
right.
more
Right. Yeah, good point. Yeah, that's good. Now, you're staying along with the technology side of things. You have a sound system. I assume you got a sound team, slide team, that kind of thing. We're doing the words on the. You're using like ProPresenter or Media Shout or something like that, probably to put the words up.
It's SongShow Plus.
SongShow Plus. Okay.
And so we can put on video or whatever we want behind the lyrics, and that's worked well for us.
Okay.
We used that for probably six years maybe.
Okay.
And it's been very functional. So I have a group of people that come in and take care of that, and they will either come in at practice on Monday and put their show together, or through the week, but generally they'll just do it on Sunday morning. But because we're also running our monitors with the text on it, so we can see it from the front, we like to have them put their part together pretty quick so that we can go ahead and work with it with the...
Yeah, that's helpful. Yeah.
There are too many words on the screen, and so we have to talk through that, and just to make sure it's going to be functional.
Yeah.
Sound-wise, we have a sound team, and right now, we were rotating our sound people every week, and right now what we're doing is we've got one person who's there every Sunday, but he doesn't run the practices.
I see.
We have different guys come in for practice, and they tend to have less experience, and so it's a good time for them to practice. And their goal is just to make sure we're all hooked up, and we've got good gain levels, and we use in-ear monitors so that we can control our sound, so they don't have to be mixing for us, and then, so they can practice mixing. And then they're also making that CD for us to be able to go ahead and go from. We use a digital board. They're PreSonus boards, and so they're kind of entry-level price-wise.
Right,
That
right.
will capture everything.
Yeah.
And so I can go back, and on Tuesday, I'll go ahead and listen to the Monday night practice, and I'll send out coaching notes to everybody.
Wow, good. Yeah.
That takes about half a day for me to do, but
Yeah.
with the board, that enables me to go back and listen to, if I want to hear what the kick drum doing and the bass doing, and just bring up those tracks. Everything I can break out completely or remix or do whatever I want.
Yeah.
We're also using loops sometimes, and so sometimes we have to change the mix of the loop to adapt to what the musicians are playing. We don't build around the loop, we build the loop around what we're doing, so it just enhances and keeps us together.
Sure, yeah.
A lot of times all we're doing with the loop is a click and the vocal cues.
So get your tempo established.
Okay.
Yeah, good. Well, that's a lot of good stuff. Now your loops are using like Loop Community or something like that. Is that what you're using? Okay, that's a good one to use.
That's last September, which is about 9 months.
Okay. And are you able to use the iPad function to kind of manage your board at all? Do you have any chance to do that with anything?
Like that.
Okay.
It's
pretty handy.
Controls the loops, and that there's another button for them to hit.
Yeah.
That's good now for us.
Good.
And we've used a click track for years, and so we're used to having a metronome going.
Yeah.
And the drummer was the person who always controlled that, and so it just made sense. We recently started using pads, pre-recorded pads, and we're actually running that from an iPhone.
Yeah.
My old iPhone I've got hooked up over at the keyboard station, and so a lot of times between songs, as soon as we finish one song, the keyboard player can hit the pads. It's just an atmospheric kind of a or pad.
Background pads. Yeah.
The next song is going to be. So if I want to talk, or we want just to have some open time, or we want to wait for a minute and just hear what the Lord is saying, whatever we want to do, there's something going on in the background that kind of facilitates it.
Right.
And it doesn't get in the way of the keyboard player having to switch patches and stuff like that. So they can hit that, and it just starts the atmospheric pad. We can play over it or whatever. And then you hear, when we're ready to start the next song, you hear that 1, 2, 3, 4 in your ears, and you can start playing. And once the introduction starts, the keyboard player hits one button and it just fades out, and it's seamless. You don't really notice that it's there, but it just helps carry one song right into the next.
Yep, keeps the attention, keeps the focus. Yeah, good. Well, it's interesting, and I know of a lot of churches that have invested a lot of money into technology. They've gone from the Stone Age to the 21st century, kind of overnight. They've spent a few months putting $100,000 into their sanctuary, and they get all the right stuff, but they don't utilize it really. They'll use not even a tenth of what they're capable of doing. And it sounds like you guys have actually, I know the kind of guy you are anyway. You're kind of a techie guy, so that kind of helps, I suppose, in terms of keeping things rolling. But it sounds like you guys have really utilized the technology really well. That you're not only have it, but you're actually using it, which is really kind of unique for a lot of churches.
We're not cutting edge. I mean, we don't have, our lights are very plain. We don't have the light show going on or anything like that. And I've made the mistake I've been in ministry for a long time, about 30 years, and I've either volunteer, part-time, or full-time, and I've made a mistake too many times of building it, thinking if I build it, I'll create this video station, and then I'll have somebody come up and I'll have a video editor. And I've squandered some of those church resources over the years by doing that. That's something I don't want to do. We really try to steward the pennies that we spend very well. And so if I have somebody who's doing it, we'll do it on a shoestring and experiment and see if this is really going to work. And if it does, and it seems like, okay, this is something that will enable the church to move forward, then we'll go ahead and put resources into it.
That is a good word right there. Some of you young worship leaders need to pay attention to that word right there. Probably write that down, put it in a book somewhere. That needs to be. That is a very good word. Well, let's change gears a little bit and just talk a little bit more about you personally. Now, we talked about this a little bit earlier, but let's ask this question: what is one of your favorite all-time songs of all time? What would be one of your favorite? I'm gonna ask you that question.
That is such a hard question. At one point in time, it's going to be this song. Another point in time, it's going to be a different song because I associate the songs that with what I'm experiencing at that moment. So if I have this really significant time with the Lord, He's doing something in me. And there's a song that helps facilitate that encounter with Him, then that song is going to be. It doesn't matter if I hear that. If I haven't heard that song for 30 years, and then I hear it, boom, I'm back in that fresh moment.
Yeah.
And so that song really matters. Changes with whatever the Lord is doing.
That's good. I think a lot of people who really appreciate all kinds of music and have that same kind of experience, I think we all struggle with that question. What is that one favorite song of all time? I don't know that I have one. There might be a song that's on my heart for a particular week, and that same thing where you're kind of humming that one song for the day or a couple days, and that song's really kind of on your heart. But then that's not your favorite of time. And a month later, you're probably tired of that song. So it's not. So it's just one of those things where I really connect with it. I think a lot of people do, and it's okay to not have a favorite of all time song. It's just that whatever those songs are, there's a collection of songs I think that kind of speak to us. And like you said, we have an experience with God where He did something in us, and it brings that back afresh and anew. I think that's kind of good to review that once in a while. Those songs bring us back there. So I've been listening to this. I've been listening to this old contemporary Christian music classics or something on radio. They have one, Russ Taff. I went to see Russ Taff the other night at Sweetwater. It was about 2 weeks ago. He was there, and just to hear him tell his stories. He doesn't have the voice that he used to have. He's really getting up there in years. But just to hear him tell stories of being on the road and talking about the songs that he wrote and stuff that was going on during those times was just really, really neat to go back. And I remembered the words. I could actually remember those words. So I really connect with that. I think a lot of people will. That's a good word. But now of the newer songs right now that are out there, like name a few artists maybe or some songs right now that your church is doing or that you have kind of on a rotation or that you're doing. What are some things you're doing right now?
All right. Speaking of the rotation, what we use about every 4 months we start with a blank slate and we fill up to about 30 songs that we're just using from week to week, and then we stick with those same 30 songs for the rest of those 4 months. That way the congregation can kind of get
to know them. Sure. Yeah.
There's overlap, and then we'll add new songs to that, and then also each week whoever's creating the music director, whoever's creating the worship set for that week, will go ahead and draw all the songs from that list, but they set the wild card song and bring in something else. So we'll add new songs to that as well. The one that we just added not too long ago was The Only Name. And I like that because to me that maybe it's because I'm getting older, I don't know, but to me it kind of gives me focus about here's the story that I want to be able to say of the good things that God has done that I have seen Him do, and so I want to build toward that. I want to make a really good story about it. So I want to be part of that now, so that for eternity I've got that great story to tell. So I really like that. It just works for me.
It's a fun song too. So
and there's Christ Church just came out with an album a couple months ago, and somebody gave me a copy of it, and not a copy, it was the real thing. That got a song on it called From This House, which is an upbeat song. It's kind of a techno song. I've been looking for a long time to have something that had kind of a little bit of a dance vibe to it, and haven't been able to find something like that, and this song did. And also, they make their loops available to churches, so you can use the same loops that are on the album.
Oh, nice! Yeah, that's nice.
And so our musicians play that, so we don't use a lot of the tracks from that loop, but that helped us learn how to play the song, and so that was good for us as well. It's a training tool for us, and so that's a fun song to do. That's an epic song.
Good. What maybe want to share with us maybe one of your favorite moments, something that kind of sticks out in your mind of a time when you were leading worship that just kind of it's one of those pinnacle moments. Maybe you've had several of them, but just something that's kind of that you can kind of remember right now. Something that happened during worship, or that the congregation really responded in a certain way that just kind of always stuck with in your memory.
Okay. I have a lot of
I bet. 30 years.
In general, it's whenever all of a sudden I realize this is where we're supposed to be. The congregation, we are connecting. The Lord is moving. This is a good place. That's all of my stories will have something to do with that.
Right,
kind of,
right.
A couple weeks ago would be a really good example. It was afterwards, the pastor had asked, we usually do a follow-up song at the end of the sermon, and kind of a response time song, to just give people a pause to say, okay, Lord, I've just heard your word. What do you want me to apply from this? What do I do with this? And so we want to give them that pause. And so the pastor asked, he said, this time, don't bring up the rest of the team. I just want you to go ahead and do this. I just want to make sure to keep it simple, because you know how musicians are. Well,
Yeah.
There's a song going on, even if I'm not supposed to play.
We got to do something. We got to.
A little bit,
Yeah.
And so he just had me come up, and I went ahead and used a pad. And so we threw up a pad and just brought that in a little bit in the background, and I just did touches of color with my guitar on it, just a little bit. Had a song, but it was very open, and it wasn't structured at all. It was kind of like an open worship almost kind of thing. But it was just a pause. It was just a music pause. There wasn't a lot of singing going on. And people started, coming down. We don't do a lot of altar calls, but that's kind of what it turned into.
Wow.
And so people were coming down, other people were praying for them, and
Wow.
it was just a really, really neat time where you knew, eternal things are happening right now.
Wow.
And so that just.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Can you tell I like that?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I think a lot of worship leaders, if they're really worship leaders and not just song leaders, there's a difference. But I think worship leaders, that's their heart. They want, once they've led the people to that place. And I probably said this a million times, but I like to think of myself as a worship leader. I like to think of myself as an usher who just kind of helps the people get to find their place before God. We're just kind of helping them find a place to be before God. And I think once we've done that and we see that happening, we can kind of just sit back, and it's like we're in that place. We're in that place where they've made that connection with God. Like you're saying, that's when things are happening. We know that God has used us, and we've been, we're in the middle of His will, kind of thing. Almost, it's kind of that feeling of just being in the center of it. And
isn't that a privilege?
Yeah, it really is. Awesome privilege.
Go out there and prepare everything, and we create this space, this time, this place that is inviting. We encourage the congregation to kind of engage. Hey, taste this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then we invite them to do that. We give them the vocabulary to start it off, and then they start doing it, and we step out of the way and let them give it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Instead of doing it ourselves and not giving them that.
Right. Yeah. That's good. That's good perspective. I think it's really cool. Yeah. So let's talk on the opposite side of the spectrum now. Let's maybe you could share some struggles, and whether that's something in your personal life or just a struggle that you might have with regards, kind of ongoing, or something that you have in the church or with worship leading and that kind of thing in life in general. What's one of your major struggles? I guess that kind of one of the things that kind of hinder you, or kind of that you kind of have to fight against a lot in terms of leading worship.
Oh, there are several things.
And don't mention the pastor's name, okay?
One thing about being in ministry is that the Lord uses ministry to do as much in me as He seems to produce fruit in other people. I mean, He uses it to create these types of situations.
Yep. Good.
Tim gets kind of the things in me that need to be dealt with.
Yeah.
Get pulled up to the surface and exposed so that I can deal with that. And I have to be really careful about having great Tim ideas and distinguishing between what the Lord wants me to do and what
Good point.
Tim's idea.
Yeah.
And I have to stick to the Lord's ideas and do them as the best I can. And on a practical level, what that means is not asking too much from the musicians. On the other hand, making sure that I ask enough. There's a balance there. I don't want to burn them out. I tend to be overprotective of them for the most part, and so sometimes I don't ask them to do as much as I could, and so I don't let them rise up sometimes. And so I try to make sure to give them opportunities so that they're aware of the opportunities that they have, and to try to equip them or give them at least opportunities to be equipped to be able to invest and go through whatever process the Lord has for them by being part of whatever He's doing. So I have to be careful about my ideas and God's ideas. I have to be careful about being selfish, having my own agenda. I'm not out there trying to be the star at all. I'm trying to equip other people, but sometimes even my attempts to equip other people, that can become my agenda. And I have to be able to listen to see what is the Lord's agenda here. I can get very focused, blinders. When you're trying to get ready for the show, and it's about ready to start. We start the pre-service video starts off in 3 minutes, and so I'm focused on that. And then somebody says, "Pastor Tim, can I share something with you?" There's that whole balance between this is my job and then there's also this is ministry, and
right.
Or if we're behind, sound tech was late or something like that. The practice is ready to start, and it's time to start, and people are still getting set up on the stage. My little clock is going off in my head. I'm hearing the steps tick by, and it's getting louder and louder. But you really need to stop and pray.
Yeah.
And that's God's agenda. My agenda is let's get going with practice.
Right.
And so those are the things that I run into a lot.
Okay.
And schedule management, same thing as everybody else deals with.
Yeah, that's good. That's I think a lot of people struggle with that when you feel that the weight of the responsibility, and then yet life happens and gets in the way, or somebody that's the kind of thing that kind of happens occasionally. But that's good. That's a good word. Now I'm going to ask you this question, and I know because we kind of shared a little bit before, but I always ask everybody if there was a local group that you could get involved with of area worship leaders, would you do that? Now I know you guys are kind of doing that up there. Maybe you'd like to share a little bit more about how that happens. How did it? Was it already there when you moved up there, or was there were you kind of instrumental in getting that going? And how did you guys do that? How did you guys go about doing that? What does it look like?
When I came up here, it was 10 years ago, going into my 11th year, and we had some of that where I came from. And so I was hungry for that. I came up here for 2 years. We didn't have anything like that at all. And then a church in one of the larger towns in the area, somebody from there said, "Hey, how about we get together and do a worship thing?" And so we got together with different bands played. And I've done that kind of thing before. And that was a good way of connecting, but it was not very often. And so we didn't maintain a lot of connection. And so I started doing conferences every couple of years up here where we would gather churches together. I think we had the largest one, we had about 22 different churches here, and musicians, and a lot of musicians gathered together. And so people were able to connect, and they were able to say, so you put all the bass players in the room, and they have a few questions to start, and somebody who's qualified to lead this discussion. And they just start saying, well, here's what I'm struggling with, here's what's been helpful to me, and they start going. And you put them in a room, and they walk out half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour and a half later. They have names of people to call, they have resources they've got written down. They go home, and they are better able to do their ministry than they were when they got there.
Yeah.
And so we started doing that. And through that, I got connected with a group of people, worship pastors from Traverse City, which is about an hour away. Actually, it's an hour and a half. And we meet once a month to gather together. And they had been meeting for a while. And so we kind of put these two things together. And so we had our area conference thing. for the churches, and now we're passing that around. So we did a couple at our church, and last year we did it at one of the other guys' churches, and so we're kind of letting other people, it's not just Tim's thing, but we're letting it become more of an area thing. And I really like that, because we're not competing this way. We're supporting each other, we're encouraging each other. Even if somebody from my team is now going over to somebody else's team and over there, we're all about the same thing. And so that's been, I really like that.
Good.
You know, when you're in ministry, when you're in charge of ministry, there's a little bit of a line. You know some things that the other people in the congregation may not be aware of. You carry some load that you can't just share with them, because they're not sure handle it. And so it's really nice to have people who are dealing with the same things that you're dealing with and can just listen. They can pray for you. They can share. They can speak into your life. That's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. You don't feel like you're alone in the midst of the issues, which is good. That's good. Well, how can we? I know you've spent a lot of time with us here, and this has really been helpful, I think. And I know you got something coming up here very shortly. You got another appointment. But how can we, as a worship leading community, worshiping community, how can we pray for you and support you in what you're doing up there? What would be your something we can put on our prayer list for Tim Miller?
You can pray for us that we have a fair number of musicians. We're kind of seasonal here. We have a lot of people who come in and are just here for the summers.
I see.
And that affects the music program.
I bet. Yeah.
So we do a lot of training and then sending out sometimes. And so we have people coming in, and we go through grad style. We're really short on musicians. It's really close to my heart that the people that I'm working with are equipped to do the ministry that the Lord's called them to do. Mm-hmm. And so if you're going to pray for me, pray that I am able to equip, recognize the people that I need to equip.
That's good, yeah.
Equip them well. And so that whether they're continuing to do their ministry at our location or they go somewhere else, that wherever they go, they'll have learned something that will further them so they can better do ministry. And that's close to my heart. So I'd love to pray for that.
That's good. We can do that. Let's do that. Well, I want to thank you again for spending so much time. It's been very helpful. Somebody who's seasoned and been around for a while and had some life experience and worship experience. It's been very helpful. Well, I was kind of trying to get around that. Talking to an old geezer who's been doing this for a while. That's really what I meant to say. Because I'm right there with you. But no, I really appreciate it. Really appreciate the time, and hopefully we'll get up there to actually get some experience with your team and with your church at some point. Maybe this summer we'll get up there and actually shake your hand and be able to say hey and meet some people and say hi to your wife and that kind of thing. So just thank you for the time. Bless you and bless your team and bless your church and what you guys are doing up there, and look forward to hearing more from you in the future.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Thank you, everybody out there.